So, welcome you all. Today we are going to discuss from the continuation of the previous session. So, last we have done what is function, then declaring a function, various aspects of function we have done. Then we have seen how to call a function, like the different components of a function, like defining the body of the function and how to call a function, that is the invocation statement of the function. So up to that much we have done in the previous session. So today we will start from the next session, I mean the continuation of the last. That today we'll see how to pass argument to a function, and before that, like, why we'll come to know that what do you mean by argument, right? Okay. Now basically argument means the values that we pass to a function to process. Now so far we have seen that a function without argument, that means defining a function without argument. So that means when we call the function, we do not need to pass any value, and the function itself takes some data and executes it. That we have seen. Just if we continue, I mean see the previous example. Suppose define some function, and let's say x comma y equal to 10 comma 30 and z equal to x plus y, and print z, and in the calling statement we used like this. So what used to happen is, from here we are calling the function, and from here it is coming over here and executes these lines, and after that it comes back. This is how it happens, that is going to the function body to execute the body of the function line by line, and again comes back. This happens while we invoke a function. But over here one thing you must notice, that the values that the function is using, the values are supplied or initialized in the body of the function. That is basically not expected in the practical situation. And why it is so? Because suppose n number of times you call this function, it will give you the result 40 only. Now suppose if you want to find out the sum of 20 and 30, then what I must do? I must change this value. That means you are changing the values, or you are changing anything in the body of the function, which is a question of security leakage. I should not give access to the body of a function to anybody else. So what will I do is, I will take the value and I will send the value to the function for execution, and I will get back the value, and my value is processed, or I got the sum of the two numbers. That is basically why we should go for arguments, because in any case accessing the body of the function should not be given control to anybody else other than the developer. Like suppose if you are using math.pow function, can we do something in the body of the function? No, this is out of our reach. We have given the control to only call the function for using. Using is something, and designing or developing or defining is something. We must understand the difference, and always we should keep in mind the practical scenario, how it should be carried out in the practical scenario. So that is basically the objective of using any argument for a function. So now we will just modify this function, and we will see how can we take argument for this function. So just I will redefine it. Define function. I will take, instead of taking the variable over here and taking the values over here, I will only write x, y, I will only write x, y and take an internal variable z and x plus y, and you can put the print statement maybe here, and you can print z. Now while you will call some function, now if you call like this way, then it will show an error over here, because the sum function requires two values to be passed. You cannot call this function without passing any value. So now what we can do is, now this is our area where we can call this is our place and this is developer's place. You have to distinguish like this way. Now what happens over here, if I pass 5, 10, fine. Now over here the value of x will be 5 and value of y will be 10, and accordingly it will be added and the result will be displayed. Getting my point? So over here I can pass constant value. Now you can ask, every time I will call I will get the value 15 only. Okay, no problem. You take the value like this. Suppose a equal to input, suppose number 1, b equal to input number 2, and then you call this function sum function a comma b. Now your job is done. So this part we will execute, and every time it will ask you for two numbers n1 and n2, and this value will be stored in a and b, and then we are passing a and b as argument. Now in this case what will happen? The value of a will be copied to x, the value of b will be copied to y, and x will be the value of a, y will be the value of b. Accordingly it will sum it up and the result will be displayed. Now as you know that Python is very powerful language, that you do not need to think of any data type. Now I am taking two integer value, no problem. Take one integer, one float. So a will be int, b will be float. Accordingly x will be int, y will be float, and obviously int plus float, that means z will be also float, and you will get the result into float. If I want two float values, okay, no problem. Write two floats over here. A, b will be float, and accordingly x and y will be also float value. Obviously z will be also float, and we will see the result. So basically these are called the arguments. Now there are two terms used here. One is called argument and another one is called parameter, right? So one is called argument, another one is called parameter. Now see, x and y, this is also argument, this is also argument, but categorically this is called parameter. These are called parameter and these are called argument. Over here they have one more name also, that is also called formal parameter, and this one also called actual parameter. So over here these two are called parameter or formal parameter, and this one is called argument or actual parameter. In examination, so sometimes you get this kind of questions also, that distinguish between actual and formal parameter. Can you find out the difference? Yes. See, the difference is very simple. The parameter that you write while defining the function is the formal parameter, and the parameter you write at the time of calling the function, right? At the time of calling the function, this parameter is called actual parameter, and at the time of defining the parameter you use, that is the formal parameter. Now why formal and why actual? Now can you imagine, suppose if I do not call this, suppose this part is not there, I have only this part. Now can you think this way, that if you do not call this, do the variables x and y will have any variable? Do the variables x and y will have any value? No. Until and unless you call the function SUMFUN, x and y will have no value. Then why it will get value? When you will call the function. So until and unless you make the invocation statement, these two parameters, these two variables will have no value. So that is why these are the actual variable where you are having the value. So that is why these two are called actual parameter and also called argument, right? And over here these are the formal thing. Whenever you will call, it will get the value. Don't call, it will have no value. Understood? So that is basically like the difference between actual parameter and formal parameter. Hope I could make yourself clear, right? Fine. Now suppose I will define. Suppose there is a function define f1 x print x. Okay, now you call f1 with value 50. What should be the output? It will show 50. Fine. Now over here write one print statement hi. Then what should be the output? First hi, then 50. Okay. Then write down one statement over here called print, suppose hello. Then what should be the output? Hello will be over here. So that means hi, then function call, so it will go here, execute and then comes back. That happens. After that print hello, so hello is printed. Now suppose there is a print statement before the body of the function. Suppose I have one function, print statement over here, suppose hi hello. So first line print hi hello, then the body of the function, then one line here and then function call and then print hello. Now in this case, can you tell me what will be the output? So the output will be very simple. First the program starts, so that is the beginning. The program will begin here, so it will print hi hello. So it will print hi hello, right? Now after this line gets executed, when it comes to this line, as it finds define, that means it will understand here is the body of the function. So body without calling will not be used. So it will finish it up and it will come over here without executing this. And then it will print hi. So after hello, hi hello, it will print hi. Right? Okay. And after that though, as usual, then function f1 is called. So when it is called, it will go over here, it will execute and then it will come back. On execution of the f1 function, it will print hi, and once this execution is over, the last line hello will be printed. So in this case, the output will be this one. This is basically how can we call a function. Now one more thing regarding argument or parameter. Let's say there is a function called define f1 print hi Now one thing, do you think that this will print error? Because we know that the name of the function is a unique thing. The name of the function should be unique, should not be repeated. But over here I did so. See, function name f1, over here f1, over here f1. So it should print error or it should generate error, but no, it will not do like this. What will happen? See, f1 over here, can you see, without any argument? Fine. Over here f1 with one argument. Over here same function with two arguments. So over here three functions I have defined with the same name but having different types of arguments. Where one there is no argument, in the second there is one argument, in the third there are two arguments, which made this function different from each other. So it is not at all duplicated. Now f1, 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 they are not duplicate because they have overall they are different to each other. Right? Okay. Now while calling these functions, what is going to happen? Calling. Now while I call this function, suppose if I call f1 like this, what should be the output? The output will be 5. Why? Now f1, then it will search in these three f1 functions which function has got the same structure. I have passed one argument. Now where there is one argument, out here the argument is 1. So it is matching with this. So it will call this one. So over here the value of x will be 5 and 5 is printed. Now whenever I will call f1 only without argument, so which one is matching? The first one is matching. So from here it will call the first one. So if I call only f1 without any argument, then it will print 5. And if I write f1 passing two parameters, so it is matching with this one. So this one will be called and the result will be 10 accordingly. So this is basically, we can control the definition of the function by passing different number of arguments and calling them accordingly, and that particular type of the function will be executed. Right? So that is basically the function, argument or parameter, actual parameter, formal parameter, all those things we have discussed. Right? Okay. Now we will come to the return type of the function. The last day I told you there is a statement called return, R-E-T-U-R-N, return. Now that is an optional statement, like so far we have not used. So it is an optional statement, and it is raining outside very heavily. So I don't know whether it is, my voice is audible to you or not. Let's see what happens, because I don't want to break it. Anyway, let's finish. So I will write a program now to define a function with a return statement. Now let's see what happens. Define okay. Now in the calling statement, I am calling f1. Okay. Now I will write a same type of function and I will call it with a little bit of difference. Now if you find out the output, right? If you find the output, over here the output will be 7, over here also output is 7. Okay, but if you see the output, in both the cases output are same, but if you see the logic of the program, very different. Now how it happens? Now that too you all easily can understand. What happens that whenever I am calling this, 2 is copied to x and 5 is copied to y, and z is calculated as x plus y, and z is displayed here. After the value is displayed, the control comes back in the next line of the function calling that we have seen just now also. But what happens over here? So forget about this, a equal to, don't need to see this. First you see the calling statement is almost same, right? Okay. Now what happens is, like this way, 2 is copied to x, 5 is copied to y. So same way, x and y, 2 and 5 calculated and added to z. That means z is now 7. Up to this much, no difference. But over here what happened? The value got displayed in the body of the function itself. But over here what happened? The result that I got over here, that is being returned. Now where it is returned? It is returned to the place from where the function is called. That is the value z, the variable, is being returned to the calling part. But over here no value has been returned. The value got displayed here only. But over here the value is not displayed here. The variable z got returned to the calling statement. Now that is the reason I wrote here a equal to. Why? Because if I do not write this, then the value will be returned back. Now when the value will return back, then where it will be stored? Where it will be stored? So I wrote a equal to. So that means you can think this way, the value of z will be stored in the variable a. Now a got the value, that is 7. The value of a will be 7 because it is the value of z. Now a over here I printed. So that is why it is printing 7. But over here it is printing 7. Both the thing, the result is same, the output is same. But I hope you could understand the differences between these two. This is without returning a value. This with returning a value. Now you can think this way. Over here also the value of 7 is returned. No. The value 7 is not returned at all over here. Over here the value is displayed over here. And while it came back, both the places it came back. Over here also it came back. Over here also it came back. But over here it came back in empty hand with no value. Right? But when it came back over here, it came back with the value of z. And it came back with the value of z, and that value of z got initialized in the variable a. I can combine these two lines and I can write it easily like this way also. I can write this way, print f1 2, 5. So that means the value of the function is called, it's get returned, and 7 will be printed inside only. No need to take any second variable. Can you compare this thing with print math.pow? Are they comparable? This is a module function I have used, math.pow 3, 2. So 2 arguments passed, got processed, and it returned the value 3 square. 9 has been returned here and 9 is printed. But over here, same thing, 2 and 5 passed to the function, that is x and y, whatever, and it is added and the value is returned, and we got the output 7 here and we will get the output 9 here. So these two are very close, comparable. This is designed and developed or defined by me. This one designed or developed or defined by the Python developers or Python itself. This is the library one, but this one is the user defined one. So this is basically how a return statement helps us to work with it. Because in this case, I have no control in this value because it is displayed here. And it came back with empty hand without any value. Only the control came back. But over here, it came back with the value of z and I can manipulate it over here. Understood? So this is basically the return statement. So function with return statement with the argument is very useful in complicated cases where we need to make we need to solve various types of real life problems where we will make define functions, and arguments and return statement play a very key role, right? So that's basically the thing, right? Now just small thing I'll just wanted to tell you that the arguments are of various types. The arguments are of various types, but I'm not going to discuss the types of arguments now because it's already little bit more we have told. So as of now for today it's over. So let's see in my next video whether it's possible for me to tell these things or not. Otherwise in the live session I will be clearing it. There are 4 types of arguments. Okay, like we'll discuss that things in the next video. Otherwise in the live session I will discuss that 4 types of arguments, because the basic things of the arguments we have understood, return type we have understood. Now we will, after telling all these things, we will try to solve very simple program to little bit complicated one. We'll try to solve, right? Hope I could make yourself clear. All the best.